Hey everybody, how's it going? This is Darrin Goodman with GuitarControl.com bringing this video lesson. Today I want to show you a strumming pattern that I just call the universal strum because it works with a lot of songs. Even if the song originally isn't using this strum, you can do this strum, like do a slight variation of this strum, and you can kind of just get through just about any song. So be sure to click on the link in the description for the tabs, and let's get close up and take a look at this. So a lot of beginners have problems with the strumming aspect. I've had a lot of students tell me that when they first start doing strumming, that it's actually one of the they feel that it's one of the hardest things because that's what's creating the rhythm. Whatever your right hand is doing is what's creating that rhythm that a listener could tap their hand to, or clap, or tap their foot, or whatever. So having a good solid strumming is very, very important. So for this strum, it's fairly simple. So in for this example that I'm using in the like I was playing and stuff, it's actually from the Green Day song Boulevard of Broken Dreams. So it's a very easy chord progression to use for this because the chords just they really flow with the fingerings, and we'll get into that in just a minute on the fingerings that I'm using for these chords. But the strum, you've got down, and then you let that ring. So it's like 1, 2, and then you have another down on 3, and then another down on 4, but and then on the end of 4 you do an upstroke. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, when you do this upstroke, you only want to hit just the first 2 or 3 strings, because what this is doing is it's creating a little bit of sound to carry over when you're changing chords, so there's not just like little pauses of silence between the chords. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just like that. Now, with the strumming, I hold my guitar picks. I use these smaller, like jazz size guitar picks, because I've got, I have very small hands. So I hold the pick, I put it, so the back part of the pick is just right in this knuckle here. I don't know how well you can see this on my first finger, and then I just bring my thumb down and hold it. So that way you only want as much of the pick protruding as necessary to hit the strings without your skin becoming in contact with it. If you have too much of the pick poking out like this, it puts your hand farther away and it's harder to control. So if you think of the guitar pick as like a pencil, when you're looking for a pencil, so I can show you. So when you're writing, you put your hand like this and write. You don't go like this and try to write. So everything, you've got your arm resting, you're choked up on your pencil or pen so you can write. So you kind of want to think of that the same way with the guitar pick, is that I rest my arm on the bout of the guitar like this, and I've got everything straight, and I'm holding the pick, and I'm just past the first string, so my arm is straight, and then I reach up with my wrist. You don't want this big motion like this. It exerts a lot more energy, and I find it much, much easier to be able to have a good rhythm is if you kind of isolate the strumming to your wrist. Now, it doesn't mean that your elbow is never going to move. I mean, there's going to be a little bit of movement there, but you don't want your wrist locked doing this. You're not chopping a piece of wood. You're strumming your guitar, right? So when I do this strum, like I said, I'm just past the first string, and then I reach up with my wrist, and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1, 2. So when I do that upstroke, as I'm reaching simultaneously for the next chord, I'm also bringing this hand up, and so I'm ready to go. So that way when I'm on the next chord, I'm already there and I'm ready to do that downstroke. that little upstroke there, those open strings, just it buys you a little bit of time, you know, so that way you're not going, you know, and it gives you more of a flow. All right, so now let's take a look at what I'm doing with my left hand, show you what the chords are, and a simple way that you can make the connections through these chords. Okay, in case I didn't mention this earlier, I'm using a capo on the 1st fret, and the only reason is so that way I'm in the same key as Green Day is when they're doing this song. But you can play the song without a capo, and it's still going to sound good. You're just not going to be in the same key as they are. So the very first chord is E minor. Now you probably more than likely learn to play a E minor with your 2nd and 3rd string, but in this case we're going to use our 1st and 2nd string because it's going to make these transitions. If you're a beginner, this will make it much easier. This is one of the very first songs I teach my private lessons, my private students, because it's just a simpler song with both of your hands to be able to get through. So we've got the E minor. So I got the 6th string open, 2nd fret, 5th string with my 1st finger, 2nd fret, 4th string with my 2nd finger, and then open 4, 3, 2, 1. Right, so the next chord is G. So when I switch to G, my 1st finger does not need to move. It's already where it needs to be for G, right? So I just move my 2nd finger to the 6th string and simultaneously drop my 3rd finger, 3rd fret of the 2nd string, and 4th finger to the 3rd fret of the 1st string. So I'm E minor, then to G. Now the next chord is D. My 3rd finger is already where it needs to be for the G. So it's a matter of removing my 4th finger and simultaneously dropping down 1st finger to the 2nd fret of the 3rd string and 2nd finger to the 2nd fret of the 1st string. So G to D. And then from there we go to an A. So you may have learned A like this or like this, with all your fingers, but I personally like to play it this way. I just take my 1st finger and I bar across the 2nd fret of the 4th, 3rd, and 2nd strings. It's just a lot simpler to make that change. So going from D to A, it's just a matter of taking your 1st finger and just lifting it from the 3rd string to the 4th string and just laying it down, simultaneously lifting your other fingers up. And then from there, back to E minor. That's the end of the progression. So to go from the A to the E minor, all I have to do is take my 1st finger and move it to the 5th string and then drop my 2nd finger down simultaneously. And I'm back to E minor again. So we got Right, now, like I said earlier, you can use this strum on other songs. So I'm not going to obviously get into all of the different songs that you could do, but like "Knocking on Heaven's Door," Bob Dylan. You got G, D, and C. So we take the G and we go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. You just do it twice on C. Back to G, D, and then to A minor twice, and then start over again. So you can use that exact same strum. Let It Be by the Beatles. The song's originally done on the piano, and if you've seen my previous lesson I did on this, the finger style. that version of it, you know, I've arranged it for, you know, for the guitar chords. But if you take those chords and you just do that same strum, so it starts on a C. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, G, 2, 3, 4, A minor, 3, F, back to C, G. So you can see it's a really cool strumming pattern. It's a really good one if you're a beginner. Just like I said, though, you know, rest your arm. Make sure you're holding your pick right. Get down here and really work it where it's in your wrist. So at first, this may seem difficult, but it's actually really simple. You just practice through it. Just take it slow. Don't be in a big hurry to try to play anything fast. Just play it slow to get started. All right. So I hope that you got something out of this and enjoyed this lesson. Be sure to subscribe to the channel. And, you know, leave me a comment down below. Let me know, you know, if there's any thing that you'd like me to, you know, do in a future lesson. You know, be a song or a technique or a lick or, you know, whatever it is. And we'll see if we can do that. All right. So that's it for me today. I will see you in the next lesson.